conversational. So I'd like to welcome to the show a friend that I've known for a long time in town, Captain Crystal. Welcome.
Thanks, James, and thanks for being my insurance advisor.
Oh, absolutely. Hey, it's a great perk, but you don't have to be a client to be on the show. But hey, when they are, it's even better, right?
Then you get first, highlighted and spotlighted and everything, right?
Well, as you can, I can see here, you don't need a lot of help being highlighted. What's with the attire? Can you tell me what's going on?
This is a new garb. You've always seen me in the Captain Crystal hat and jacket, ready to go out flying on my hot air balloons. But today I'm representing two different things. That's our Dreamcatcher nonprofit ADA balloon, and also the Miss Senior Washington United States competition, which I am going to be involved with coming up in October in Las Vegas.
Wow. So. And it's no surprise because I've known you for years now. You always have a lot going on. If there's a cookie jar to have your hand in, you've got your hand in all of it. So
I do.
Can you tell me first, for the audience who doesn't know about the ADA balloon and the Dreamcatcher, tell me about that, because I know it's been on King 5 Evening News. It's a marvelous thing, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's like one of only one or two in the U.S., or maybe the only one, or something crazy, right?
It's the only one of its kind in the world. I did that when I designed it. It took me years of designing and 5 years of fundraising, and finally we got this going 2015. Fly, which is saying a lot considering you can only take one pilot and one person. So it's up at 22 inches. That puts that wheelchair height that allows someone to be able to slide on and then be able to get a flight. So there are 3 of these aircraft in the world, but the rest of them sit on the ground. So for you to take someone in a wheelchair and put them in the seat, they'd have to be on the ground on their butt, and it's awkward. So we did a little bit of re-engineering with a few friends of mine and figured out a way to be able to make it very comfortable for people with disabilities to be able to either walk up with a stroller, or even just walking, or wheeling, to be able to get a chance to ride in a hot air balloon. It's a very normal activity for a lot of us, but there's a basket involved, and we have to, climb over the top, and this allows them to not climb at all, just basically sit back and relax. And because of its dynamics, the way I built it, one more time, it spins 360. So you have a seat here for 2 people, but exactly. So there's very good. Thanks for the illustration. So the big thing is, someone who's a quadriplegic who cannot move their neck, this is the most opportune moment for them to have a really cool ride.
That's so awesome. And I knew it was really rare and limited, but I didn't know it was the only one in the world of its nature. That's pretty awesome. Tell us the background. I know you have lots to share, but tell us the background. How the heck did you ever get involved with hot air balloons in the first place? That's like something that most people see on TV and like,
I know
that's cool in New Mexico, whatever. Like, how did you end up with this?
Flying all over the world, doing wild things that I've done. I started. I was the volunteer coordinator for the Portland Marathon for 11 years, and I had a database of about 3,500 people that I worked with. And one day I got a phone call from a balloon organization in Oregon who said, "We would like to know if we can borrow some of your volunteers." And I said, "Well, how many do you need?" So that's how I got started in ballooning. The Rose Festival heard about me and said, "Can you do the coordination of the crew and the riders, and can you coordinate the pilots?" And I said, okay. So I did that for 7 years. So I was constantly finding ways of being able to see, wow, what else can we do? Why ballooning? What can they do to society and to our communities? And every time I was around a pilot, I'd say, wait a minute, there's a kids run over here. Can I introduce you to this group and you can get your balloon over there and give them rides? Or there's this going on at Waterfront Park. And I said, you'll get press. So your balloon will get out there and you'll give back to the community. And one day a gentleman came up to me with his hot air balloon and said, here's the keys, go learn how to fly. You've done so much for my community that we would like you to be one of the pilots. And I went, okay, twist my arm. So anyway, then I found out afterwards that my grandfather was part of a stratospheric balloon launch in 1935 out of South Dakota. And then of course my dad taught him to fly. So now I'm a 3rd generation balloon pilot.
So it's all genetic. Yeah. It's in the family lineage, huh? So
it's like I'm an air sign, Libra, watch out. Yeah. So that's
over your time, you've done probably thousands of flights. I've got an interesting question I wanted to ask you. Can you,
Oh, no,
can
here we
you tell
go.
me one or two of like the weirdest things or stories or events? You've probably been parts of several proposals, I'm guessing, or different things. Is there one or two things that stand out of like, what? How the heck am I in this little basket with these people up here in the air?
I got a good story. This one happened in New York City, and three pilots were vying for the Seagram's Vodka balloon tour, 4 cities in 30 days. So we had Miami, Chicago, New York, and LA. And I was one of the pilots who basically I had to design a flying fuel tank because I'd be flying out of New York City, out of Central Park, and I knew that I had chase boats in the water waiting for me outside the Statue of Liberty, blah, 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 and all this stuff. And I went, oh my gosh, how did I get myself into this? So I was hired on as the pilot for this program. And I couldn't get a hold of the guy who was in charge of all the propane and stuff for New York City. And of course, it happened to be a fire chief in downtown in Central Park. And I called and I called. I just couldn't get through. So finally I said, let him know Captain Crystal from Washington's on the line. And he gets on the line, goes, don't do that. They thought you were someone from Washington, D.C. And so I got right in. But he personally came up on the balloon. We were in between MTV and VH1, and we were at the base of the New York City Library. And it was a wild day. People were looking out their windows because we couldn't actually fly. The permit was changed because the wind was not going to be in the right direction. I would have been a big hit on AP wire, big balloon on the side of a building in New York City. So, but that was so much fun because I got to introduce him to hot air ballooning, and he just said, I'm coming on out there. I said, I've got a cup of coffee waiting for you. Come on out.
Don't you wish sometimes that you had better, I know that you're big into the, Facebook Live and cell phone and stuff. Don't you wish you had better stuff to like, record that and digitize and memorize that? That must have been a fun time.
It wasn't available back then. And besides, I was holding on for my life. I mean, I had to strap myself down into the basket because the winds were bucking me between all these buildings in New York City. So I literally had to harness myself in, and nobody would fly with me. And we had water barrels to hold me in place. And I moved the water barrels about 20 feet, as I kept on going up and down all over the place. I said, well, nobody else will do this. Obviously, I'm the right girl to do this. Of course, I was crazier back then. That was a while.
Crazier back then. You're sitting in your living room wearing a tiara. What are we talking?
And who would ever think I would do something like this?
I would think that, Crystal.
Not me.
Why don't you segue to some of the cool projects and stuff? Why you're dressed in this awesome garb? You want to stand up and show your sash real quick?
Wait a minute.
Tell us what's going on.
Funny.
What's new in the world with you now? Because I know that you've got a couple of big events and things coming up just in the next few weeks.
Yeah, we lost 8 events for Dreamcatcher this year, which was a huge. They're all fundraisers to get us to go to the next spot. We did Shriners Hospital for Children last year, Salt Lake City, and out of that, I got introduced to the Shriners Hospital for Children in Las Vegas. And so what we're doing, they don't actually have a hospital there, but they have kids there. So when I was approached by Cherie Kidd, who is Miss Senior USA out of Port Angeles, she said, Crystal, you should be part of this Miss Senior United States and all the program. And I'm like going, why? Because you know how busy I am. And she said, because you can take, plus the other part was, I have no talent. She said, but you're a storyteller. I said, this is true. I'm very good at that. So she said, this will give me a chance to get my aircraft up on stage in front of, at the time, before pandemic, we had 500 women from around the world who were going to come and watch the presentation. And I just said, yes, I want to do this. So now things have changed up a little bit. Now we're in Las Vegas in October. I'm still bringing the balloon down there. Now we have the Shriners Hospital still. We're going to work on the event for that. And we'll have a veterans event that's also going on at the same time. And then, of course, the competition, which will allow me to showcase my aircraft one more time in front of people. It's going to be televised at a later release. They're showcasing 5 of the senior women who are part of this Miss Senior Universe, Miss Super Senior. These women are over the age of 60, from 75 to 95, and they're out there doing amazing things. And I think the most interesting aspect I found of this whole competition, this Miss Senior, they're looking at these women who are doing things in their community, and they are acknowledging them and letting them know, awesome, this is what we want to do. How can we honor and award you for going out there and being part of something amazing. I just thought, wow, this is interesting. It's not a beauty pageant. It's women who are empowered to go out and take on the world and change it and make something happen. And I just said, my tribe.
Yeah. If there's ever a banner that said Crystal, that's it, right? That had
sign up here. But I didn't know that. At first I'm thinking, we're all over, we're like 60, and what do you want to do with your life? I'm gonna look to maybe retire. Wait a minute, I can't do that because I'm an entrepreneur and I love making things happen and I love doing things. And the doors that I see opening for this, whether I win, I'm a winner just going up there with my balloon, just being on stage and showing everyone what we can do. We've been to the Philippines twice with the Dreamcatcher balloon. I've been through Southwest, United States. We have opportunities to possibly take it to Florida, but everything's changed. Our fundraising has changed because of everything. All of our events have been canceled. So I'm looking at this as more of a opportunity to do more one-on-one or smaller groups. And I think once I get this announced that, hey, we are still here, we're still out there, we're looking for venues and avenues to make a difference, please, give us a call. We'll be there. And so that's kind of like why I got involved with this. And October's the big time. And of course, I have never done anything like this before. When I was very young, I was a model and did all that stuff. But, that was like millions of years ago.
Wait. You can't just drop a little nutshell like that. You were a model in your past? What did you model? Do you have any good stories for that?
Way past life. We're going way back, commercials and movies and stuff like that. But that was that's way in a previous life. And I thought, you let that go behind when you're hit 30 and you go on from there.
Is that why you've changed your name officially? Aliases, it's now all Captain Crystal, so no one can search back to your past. No one can find you on the internet?
Yeah, but now if they type in Captain Crystal, they're going to find me anyway because everything is what I do. No, actually, I was given the name. They lost my ticket. I was putting on an event in Japan, and I brought the largest balloon in the world out there to the Motegi racetrack. And on the way to New Zealand, which is our next stop with the balloon tour, they couldn't find my ticket. So they knew I was a pilot. And of course, they were calling me Crystal-san in Japan, which means Mr. Crystal. So they took the idea of Crystal-san and just made it Captain Crystal. And so I flew in the jump seat with the pilots there on Air New Zealand, and then flew, into LA, the pilot seat up there, in the jump seat. And ever since then, everyone just kept on teasing me about it. That's all they called me. So over 35, plus years, that's all I've been called is Captain Crystal. Crystal. I just didn't expect it, but it's who I am now. It's part of my history now that you find out that ballooning is in my blood. And things are changing. The world has changed, and we've got to figure out more ways of doing something with what we have. And for me, if I take this balloon out to more locations, let people know we're still alive, we're still out there, because I would believe that maybe between a third to a half the balloon pilots in the United States will be hanging up their balloon pilot caps within the next 2 years, because the world has changed too much. And it's a lot of restrictions, a lot of regulations. We're very lucky to be part of this area, because everyone is just been awesome. We have COVID waivers that we sign, and we follow the FAA guidelines and all that stuff. But a lot of people, they come out there spending money on a hot air balloon ride, and they don't want to be visualized with the mask on. And I said, you're looking straight at the camera, take off your mask. Said, we'll all be quiet in the balloon. And then when you're up in the balloon, you're facing outwards. Don't worry about it. With the Dreamcatcher, it's going to be a little bit different. I have a shield that I'll be wearing. It's very difficult to fly a balloon at altitude for most of these locations, especially when they're at 3,000, 5,000 feet, not being able to breathe on a regular basis. So there's a lot of challenges out there for pilots. And so I think you're going to find that balloon's going to be more of probably a more expensive sport. And it's going to be more of a sport than a livelihood for a lot of us pilots out there. So that's why we're going one more time. Would you like to ride?
And down below, we'll put your website, and obviously everyone can find you on Facebook as ways to not only help support. So if you want to help support Crystal and the ability to do some of these nonprofit type things, as well as if you want to seek out for a private ride, obviously that's still something that can go on. Today, we are currently smoked in with wildfire smoke, so it probably has not been flyable for the last week. My kids are driving all of us crazy because they just want to go ride bikes, and we're having to lock them in. So I'm
Yeah.
sure you feel some of that antsiness of like, I want to be outside. I want to be outside.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got 2 weeks before the balloon season shuts down, and we're still deciding what we're going to do next year, whether we're going to even be flying passenger rides. We just don't know. But we will be flying the Dreamcatcher. We know that for sure. And I'm going in that direction. Life, like I said, life has changed. So we're just going to take it and make lemonade with everything we've got. And of course, yes, we take Facebook. Through Facebook, we have a website. We're taking donations through PayPal. Anyone who wants to donate right now, this is an awesome time to help get us down to Las Vegas and back. We are working at an adaptive sports group out of Arizona. But like I said, nothing is in stone until we get close to the date, because everyone is still shut down in their own areas, or the smoke. There's a lot of smoke in all the areas, especially in Las Vegas. So
Yeah, no kidding.
I'm going to just decide. Of course, they're looking at us going to New York City for the Macy's Day Parade. And I'm working on that right now to see if I can get, holding one of those Macy's Day balloons. I got friends in high places, literally.
Oh
Talk
my
to them and
gosh.
say,
Well, yeah,
how do I get down there?
with your Times Square experience too, you should be able to call in the fire marshal or something,
Yeah,
get some
right.
sort of hookup, right?
I'm sure he's probably retired since then, but you know what? Maybe, just maybe, he'll see it, goes, oh my goodness, it's Captain Crystal, that little squirt from way back when.
So to recap, I'm going to recap for the audience who stayed with us
Okay.
this long. You were genetically predisposed to be a balloon
Yeah.
pilot. This is
Yeah.
no surprise. We should have known
No.
this would come. What was a surprise is that you were a model in the past. That's a good little nugget for those of us to now know. And
I shouldn't have said
also
anything.
that you are now entering, well, we won't call it a beauty pageant. You could have fooled us, because
Yeah.
you've got the outfit, you've got the tiara, but you're doing
Right.
an awesome thing, getting out there and spreading the word about what you do, and more importantly, why you do it, which I think is
Right.
really cool. It's not just,
No.
some people have a passion. I like flying planes, so I fly the plane by myself. You're so much more of an outward people person. This is about what you give back to people.
Right. And I think the whole thing is also, we're also opening avenues for women over the age of 60 to be more empowered. There's so much more out there, and all you have to do is find something that touches your heart. And then we have such an active community anyway of seniors out here, which is awesome, but not every community is as involved as ours is.
Right.
And so if I can go out there and represent everyone and say, hey, get out there, make a difference, change lives. We all have opportunities, and the whole thing is to step forward and see what you can do to make a difference in someone's life. And like I said, we know what mine is. My purpose is obviously to fly hot air balloons. And I just read, it's so funny, I just read something from Mark Twain the other day. He says there's 2 important days in your life. And one is the day that you're born. And the second one is when you find out the reason why. I found out my reason. This is my journey. And this is what gives me a lot of joy. And I want to be able to give that to everyone else as well.
I love that, Crystal. And I think it's official. Your 15 minutes of Clallam Fame Corner is up.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for watching and support the Dreamcatcher Balloon program. And we'll see everybody in the skies, right?
All right. We'll see you soon, Crystal.